Well, it's kind of like our version of like the king in his tub with a goblet of wine. You know, we don't have that.
Wow.
But a shower beer is the modern day being the king in his tub with the bottle or the goblet of wine.
You just described the feeling that I get from a shower beer that I have not known how to put into words. So thank you.
You're welcome.
That was exactly. You feel
every
royal.
once in a while I stumble across something and I'm like, wow, that was a good thought, Jack.
It's a wise leprechaun over here.
Yeah, that's where the wisdom is coming from, actually. Yeah, to address the elephant in the room, this is being filmed the day before St. Patrick's Day.
And put out like 4 days after.
Gonna get put way after.
Dude, we have tabs this week.
This is going to be like 2 weeks after St. Patrick's Day is over.
Oh, no.
This is going to come out way after St. Patrick's Day.
I forgot. For some reason, I thought we already
Tabitha?
put out tabs. Tabitha Meeks.
Tabitha Meeks? Hell yeah.
Yeah, we just...
Yeah, we had a good
She's this
time.
week.
That was
Nice.
That was so much
She's
fun.
great. She's a wise old bird.
Yeah. That is,
Don't call her an old bird.
She's a wise bird.
Yeah, a wise bird.
A wise young bird.
She's a wise old bat.
Yeah, I'm gonna tag her in the comments. Like, hey, listen to what Taylor calls you.
Please take the episode down.
433 on the video.
I do not want to be affiliated with you anymore.
Yeah, cancel my podcast.
No, she had a lot of great things to say. Hell yeah. We love
Yeah,
tabs.
she was great, and her songs were so fun, and they were a lot of fun to mix, and I'm excited for that when they come out.
Yeah, dude.
You got a little...
Oh, thank you.
Other side.
Other side.
I got you.
I appreciate that. If you had let me go the whole podcast that way, I would have been hurt at the end.
I considered leaving it because I'm like, would this be
Nah.
better if I left? No, I gotta look.
No, I
up this guy.
appreciate that. Now I know. Check.
Yeah, I got you.
Well, Ethan, how are you doing, man? How's life?
I'm doing good, man. It's been a lot right now, but it's it's been especially today. I had a day off for the first time in a while yesterday.
Nice.
So I definitely did jack, and
That's great.
You got to do it sometimes.
yeah, it was weird because I was still in like work mode, and my brain was like, well, now that I have time off, I want to do stuff.
Yeah,
But I still forced I'm gonna stay on the couch, I'm gonna watch White Lotus, and I'm gonna just fuck off. So yeah, but now it's I feel good.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Yeah, it's sometimes it's hard to, even though you're like exhausted when you've been just going for so long. It's really hard to like switch your brain out of that mode.
Yeah,
You
you're
know?
in that momentum.
Yeah, you want to
like,
keep
yeah.
moving.
absolutely.
You're like, can I pre-do the dishes? Can I do the dishes before?
Literally though,
You're just like looking for things to do around the house.
yeah. How are you guys doing? If you don't mind me asking.
Doing good.
Really good. Yeah, I've had a lot of, Taylor's got a lot of exciting things coming up. I think for me, I've had a lot of stability and things kind of falling into place, like random life stuff that I've been dealing with, like
Building up towards.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Got in a car accident last month.
Oh, that's
That was
fun.
like-
Yeah, building up towards great.
It wasn't, so more like building back. Rebuilding. We were in a rebuilding period. All of February was pretty hectic, just kind of dealing with that. And then, of course, I had like several different things kind of like pile up at once, just like career stuff. And then, of course, my expenses went up because of the new car. And so I had a lot to figure out. And now it's all kind of, the dust is settling. So I'm really excited. And I'm kind of, now that I've got all that out of the way, I can sort of refocus on creative projects that I've been working on and stuff like that. So I'm a happy camper currently.
Nice. Well, glad did you
doing
get
good.
injured like physically in this car wreck?
I didn't get like injured, like as in there was nothing like broken or to be really done, but my entire body, and everybody that knows me can attest to this because I was like so stiff for like a whole month.
Oh, really?
Just completely in pain from the neck down.
Because you got like whiplash or something like that, or
kind of. So I was, the way that it happened was there was a Corvette that was trying to like weave through traffic, and it pulled in front of this one car that was 2 cars ahead of me. That car slammed on their brakes. The car behind them slammed on their brakes, and their brakes actually locked up, and they like whipped the wheel and were able to miss the car by just inches. And then I was next, and it was like a tree or this car that just pulled into the next lane. There was nowhere for me to go. I had like, 0.1 seconds to make a decision. So I just slammed on my brakes, just all I really knew what to do, or, what to do in that situation. So I slammed on my brakes, slam into the back of this truck. They spin out, I spin out, and the whole front of my car is just demolished.
It's scary. You
I showed
us
you a
the photo
picture,
last week with
I couldn't even look at the pictures because I was so sad about it.
Oh, wow.
I was like, this is just painful to see my car like this. But yeah, I pulled it up last week and showed y'all what it looked like, and it was pretty gnarly. So that impact force, basically, I think my body just like tensed up. And it was weird because the rest of that day I was fine. And then the next day after that, whole day I was fine. And then that Monday morning, I woke up and I like could not get out of bed. Like my entire body from the neck down was just completely sore. And so it took about 5 weeks for it to sort itself out.
Wow.
But it was all muscle pain. No like bone fracture pain, nothing like that.
That's you said it was like 2 days after the accident that you
it wasn't the next day, it was the day after that.
That's like, I mean,
very weird.
That's a crazy delayed reaction. I would have never expected that.
It was super weird. Because I thought I was fine. You know, I got out and I was like, well, I sure have got adrenaline going, but I don't feel anything right now and nothing visibly looks wrong. Then the next day, nothing hurt. And I was like, okay, well.
You don't look fucked up. So that's good.
Yeah, right.
Are we allowed to curse on here? I meant to
ask.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, you're good. Yeah, you should have seen Jackson before. He looked great.
Yeah.
He's like Squidward when, Patrick.
Yeah, I was like handsome Squidward.
Or like I was born with glass bones and paper skin.
Yeah, totally.
That fish.
I am trying to get back to handsome Squidward, I wasn't able to work out all month because my whole body hurt. And I was like, and then I just kind of let myself eat shitty because I was like, well, I'm not working out right now. And I feel I'm in pain. I'm going to eat ice cream. So
you'll get back to handsome Squidward though.
Yeah, we're getting back to that. Yeah, we're in a rebuilding period on that.
That's right.
But,
That's right.
We got through it. Sometimes life gets really crazy and you're like, I literally don't know how I'm going to handle all of this shit flying at me. And then you kind of just somehow it just kind of works out. And so that's been really cool because I was definitely not I was not in a good place after it all happened. I was like, what is my life right now? Everything's falling apart. And now like a month later, it's like, okay, everything's pretty back together. We're good.
It's good. It's
There
good.
you go, man.
That's me.
Happy to hear that.
It's very good.
What about you?
Taylor?
Me? I'm good. My
got
life is
stuff
good,
going
dude.
on.
I can't complain about my life.
You look like you're straight vibing right now, that's for sure.
I'm feeling good.
Yeah.
Life is good. Doing that Groove MPL stuff. That's what I'm like most excited about right now.
Hell yeah.
So this week we had Kip Allen
Oh, nice. Yeah.
came on. Yeah. And a lot of people mistake it for this podcast because they see like the things that I'm a part of. And they're like, oh yeah, you got the podcast, right? I'm like, I do, but also like 5 other things. And this is a different thing. But yeah, like I'll go to people's studios and I'll film like how they are recording stuff. So for Kip, I went to his studio and he recorded just raw drums and went to the computer and shows how he processes it and the whole deal. Yeah.
I love that.
So doing that recently.
I love
It's good.
that.
Life is good.
Yeah. You also have like such a recognizable studio.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I know when I look at your Instagram, there are a couple of times where I was confused. I'm like, wait, so is this the podcast? Am I doing what Kyle Law did? Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
What am I being a part of today?
Yeah. I mean, I'm down to be here because, it's like I've known you and obviously Dan and Nate and all those guys since before this inception.
Right.
But like, it's just like, I have no idea what we're going to be doing, but I know it's going to involve drums and
Sure.
I guess
You
drinking
can
Guinness
assume as
now.
much. Yeah. That's a new addition for sure.
Yeah, you just lucked out and got to be the this year's St.
Patty's Day. Yeah.
podcast.
Yeah. Twist my arm even more. Okay. Friends, drums, and beer. Cool.
Yeah, dude. Living the life. Because we met a very long time ago.
We did.
We met when I was still at that storage unit,
Yeah.
the East Nashville self-storage in the basement,
Yes.
where there's 3 other metal bands that were down there.
Oh, yeah. But I don't remember ever being there when they were rehearsing, though.
From time to time.
Really? Okay.
They'd be rehearsing at like 1 a.m. sometimes. They'd be all over the place.
Yeah.
And then there's a bunch of other drummers down there that would rehearse too.
Yeah.
But we would do like little jams. We would do like little Trading Fours
Yeah.
sessions down there.
Yeah.
Which was super fun.
That was fun.
Way back in the day. And I think we both moved here pretty much the same time
We did. Yeah.
too.
I do remember that because I remember I was living in Madison at the time. I think that was like, 21? Something like that, 2021. And I remember we got tacos or something like that the first time we went to the jam
the
space or something
sketchy
like that.
taco truck.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was
yeah,
right
yeah.
by your storage unit, I'm pretty sure.
Right,
Yeah,
that's right.
So, yeah. that was good times. And then I think we hadn't seen each other in a while. Then what was the last time we ran into each other at the drummers hang at Sonny's? Like 2 years ago, something like that.
It might have been.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know.
It's always a good spot to see drummers.
Yeah, you were kind of like on the DL making the Groove MPL stuff, and then you just came. I was wondering like, what's Taylor been up to? And then you just like, oh, by the way, I got a new world. I got a new business. Like,
sure.
I'm like, okay, that's shit, dude. So
yeah, because it took a long time to build.
Yeah,
because it's the very first. One of the first ones was MJ.
Yes.
When he broke down his Lauren Watkins set. Like how we built the walk-on track and everything. And then I held on to that for like half a year at least.
Really?
Because I didn't want to release Groove MPL and just have it be like one course.
Yeah.
You know?
You wanted to have some backlog stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, especially if it's a subscription thing and people are going to be paying for this.
Yeah.
I don't want them to have to pay for like one hour course. So I wanted to wait till it was like 12 plus hours. So if people are subscribing for this thing, they're actually going to get something out of it.
Yeah.
And learn something out of it. And now I think it's got to be at like 20 hours plus or so of just live playback. So like Ableton stuff.
Yeah.
And then independent studio stuff too.
That's
like how do you
awesome.
record the whole deal.
That is fantastic.
Because you can't just be a freaking drummer.
Yeah.
Anymore. Like you have to know so much more. You have to know how to run backing tracks. You have to know mic placements and what microphones you're going to use.
Yeah.
You can't just be drums.
And the guys you've got teaching those things are just obviously great at what they do.
Yeah.
Some of them are guys that I've definitely reached out to, like someone I first moved to Nashville, and then some guys I still reach out. I'm like, hey, like,
sure,
Nico, I was
working
on this.
Nico.
Like,
yeah.
I always go to Nico, but it's just like for some reason, like Nico just has like the obscure knowledge too, and like, you know, I mean, all those guys are great, and they're all just you picked good. What's the word? You pick good dudes. You pick good dudes.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, like, Nico's a freaking fiend when it comes to that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Just like he knows way more than you need to know.
Yeah.
When it comes to Ableton, then he knows like 50 ways to do one thing, 50 ways to build a click track.
Exactly.
In Ableton.
That's why it was overwhelming the first time I reached out to him because I didn't know anything about Ableton, and I just went over to his house to learn shit. And he, like you said, he knows so many different ways to do one thing, and I'm very like, if I find one way and it works, I'm gonna stick with it. So I was overwhelmed the first time I listened to him, but he was still helpful nonetheless. But I'm just like, I had my mind blown.
Yeah,
all that.
He's a fiend. Are you doing a lot of Ableton stuff, like with Trey Lewis?
Yeah, I mean, I'm the playback engineer for that. I get our stems and stuff from our MD because he likes to rebuild a lot of stuff. Obviously, it's a lot of stuff that's on the record, but sometimes he'll for like arrangements and stuff because we do like crazy arrangements in between each song and whatnot, and he'll build all those himself. He'll like, or like at least build the stems in Pro Tools, and like he'll
just drag and drop them,
and then I make sure I can jump between sections for live performance and all that. And since Trey does like to he's gotten a little more comfy with like like for example Friends in Low Places, he might go into Neon Moon during the verses or something because our tracks are still pretty minimal being a 4-piece band, so like a lot of times it is just click, so I'll be able to like just loop sections, and like if Trey wants to improvise I'll just follow him, and then
that's really cool about just like swapping out verses and stuff like that. How did that become sort of part of the overall show?
I always wanted to be able to do it, and I saw guys like a lot of the really good Ableton drummer engineer dudes here are able have their ways. I've seen people with like the two, like if they're using an SPD, they have like the two stickers that go right and left, like next marker or the previous marker. And I did that for a while, but maybe I just didn't find the right way to do it. But eventually, basically, I took a lesson from Mark Poise. I forget how to say his last name, but who was Tyler Farr's long-time drummer. He just left. I think he's doing in-town stuff now, or I don't know what he's doing, but nonetheless, solid drummer, solid engineer, solid. I mean, just the dude is a beast. Yep. And I saw that he was running his in a very odd way, so I got a lesson from him, and he kind of showed me how to like rather than going previous or next marker, like
Yeah.
having each pad be a certain section of each song, and then using the
Oh,
plus and
that's
minus keys on the
cool, yeah.
SPD to like, that's your set list, and you build it in the kit chain function on the SPD, and then you have a master
okay.
set list on Ableton. So
Gotcha. So
Yeah.
is that subject to change night to night though, where he'll say, "Hey, let's just do the regular verses," and
yeah. I
this.
mean, it doesn't go too crazy, and I'm pretty much ready for anything. But
Gotcha.
like, it's I mean, like he may like the craziest thing that I'll usually have to prepare for ahead of time is if he can't decide between, like, say in the middle of the set, he can't decide between two songs. Like, I'll just put both of them in the kit chain.
Gotcha.
And then But
so you're doing some editing on the fly in terms of just what's in the chain coming down the pipeline next.
Our show is pretty like set at the beginning of the year because we don't really rehearse a lot. Like we'll usually just rehearse at the beginning of the year, and like that'll be, and even if like there's a new song that he releases halfway through the year, like we'll just run through it. Like Ben, our MD, will make an arrangement if we need one, and we'll just run it at sound check. And if we're all good, we're good. So
gotcha. Is everybody kind of spread out around the country, or is everyone here in Nashville?
Yeah, so everyone except our bass player is in Nashville.
Okay.
But I mean, everyone still lives on like opposite ends of Nashville, and it can be a bitch to get everyone together. But our bass player lives in Louisiana. So
oh, gotcha.
Yeah, but he makes the commute whenever we have bus call or rehearsal or whatever. But
you're seeing a lot of that more and more. A lot of people that we've had on have said that, we're all over the country. We've got somebody lives in Louisiana, for example, or Alabama, or Florida, and you have these bands that kind of just, maybe they'll rehearse like a couple times at the beginning of the year, and then they sort of just meet up at the gig.
Exactly.
In some cases.
Yeah. It's like, we're professionals. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's very true. Yeah, but you're doing all that on the SPD.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Yeah. I bought an SPD when I bought Ableton. And it was like right after I learned what Ableton was, and what SPDs are actually normally used for. I thought they were just for funny sounds and stuff.
Yeah,
and then like,
it's not the 404, is it?
No, I had a 404 for the longest time. I have it's like the SPD SX. It's like the drum pad one.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, I had a 404 forever, and I just was a menace with that thing.
Those things are cool.
They're fun.
You can do so much with them.
I loved them. I even had even though I had them with my drum kit, I loved being able to like do the effects that they had on them. But no, I ended up selling my 404 to one of my old bandmates. But
gotcha.
Yeah, but I bought an SPD because I just thought they were necessary for running tracks. I didn't realize it was like a lot. Like the standard issue was through Ableton through a computer, and even then, you definitely don't need an SPD SX. But
True.
Over time, it just kind of became my preferred way for specific gigs. Obviously, I mean, like if I want with Trey's setup, we're usually headlining, so I have plenty of time to set up everything, and I have everything on a Gibraltar rack now, so it's like, all the hardware gets set up pretty quick, so it's just setting up cymbals and snare and pedal and stuff. So, for that show, I like having the SPD because I also have the 2-foot switches that come out. They're like the Boss 5SUs or whatever they're called. Mm-hmm. I have them on either side. Those are my stop and my play buttons.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah,
that's a good idea.
It's basically a way for me to free up 2 extra pads and not have those 2 pads be play and stop.
Yeah.
And also, I like having the kill switch be like right by my hi-hat, so in case all else fails, just kill it.
Right.
But
that's a good move.
Yeah, but like for me, it's the SPD. It's kind of the preferred way for at least that gig, and any gig where it's going to be like, well, I'm going to have this set up pretty much every gig. Right. If we do like a whiskey jam or something like that, or like a run and gun festival, I'll just do it on the computer, and I'll have it set in session view, or I'll have like the keys marked like song 1 is on number 1, song 2, and so on.
Right.
So
gotcha.
But yeah, no, the SPD SX, man, it's a great tool. It's a great tool. I don't know. I got nothing but good things to say about it.
Yeah. It's just interesting to see how many drummers have it now. But it seems like a lot of drummers have it now because a lot of drummers are running playback.
Yeah.
There's so many. And I remember when I first moved to Nash.
Do you mind me having this up here? I just want to make sure.
Okay,
just want to make sure. Yeah.
Like when I first moved to Nash, it's just started to like enter my mind that like, oh, like I would see like Death Cab for Cutie play, and it'd be like, oh, like he's doing like electronics on the side. Is how I thought about it.
Yeah.
And like I had no idea what he was doing. I thought he was just running like doing like claps and whatnot on the side.
Yeah.
And then to figure out that these people are running backing tracks is just a whole completely different world.
It really is.
That I didn't think was like a thing. And then there's no,
and then you got guys running the lights too.
Yeah.
Because you can integrate. I'm sure you've covered a lot of this on some.
Not on MPL yet.
Oh, you haven't?
Not
That would
yet.
be a good thing to cover because you can do full light shows from Ableton. And I've
Mhm.
seen it in action, and it is really cool.
Yeah,
what you
there's
can do.
all these different programs that sync up with it.
Yeah.
And like I've been very curious to dive into that. I just haven't had the necessity or the resources to yet.
Right.
But I definitely, I would love to be in a situation later where like I get to be part of designing a light show and designing like how the audience experiences everything.
Yeah.
So,
Some controller.
Yeah.
Negative 25.
yeah.
You played with.
Yeah. They
They
have their whole thing to a light show. Yeah.
They're locked in.
They really are.
One, they're killing it. They just came out with a new EP
Yeah.
this week, which is great. Their branding is great. Their sound is great. Very unique. But yeah, they're doing light shows. They're doing backing tracks all through Ableton. And like Bradley runs it, I think.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
I never touched it when I played with them.
It was
Like-
that was a very. I only filled in for a couple of gigs. I remember that was a very nice luxury to not have
to worry about
Yeah,
it.
I did have to count. The one thing I wasn't used to was I don't think they had counts built in, or at least they didn't have a couple for like the beginning. So I had to like chart out because I already had to learn the songs pretty quickly.
Oh, is that right?
And I had to write. The only thing I was it was a little scary was I had to write out like, okay, for this song it's 4 clicks and I'm in, or this song it's 8 clicks.
It would vary.
Yeah, it would vary. But other than that, it was like, oh, I just play the drums and I play cool songs.
Right.
I'm not playing, no offense to country, but you play a lot of country and it's like, oh, it's nice to play some stuff that you actually listened to growing up and stuff
Sure.
like that. So
Yeah, they write really good songs. I remember they were really organized with their Ableton set.
yeah.
But there's one song. It might have been "Are We Having Fun Yet," which is one of their first singles, and the count is just 1, 2, 3, 4.
yeah,
Like, you're right. Like,
I vaguely remember that. Yeah, there was like a couple songs, or it may have been that song where I was just like, oh shit, I have to be ready. Like,
Right, it's just that one song.
Yeah.
Like everything else is like they're very organized with it.
For
I'm
sure.
very impressed by them.
Those guys are just such like I don't mean this as a diss, but they're like cockroaches. Like they're just so like they just are their own unit. They're so small, but they do everything themselves, and they're obviously very efficient with it.
Yep.
And like you can't like they're just I don't know how to describe it, but they're for how small their operation is, they make it work, man.
It's just both of them.
Yeah.
So it's a band of two brothers.
Mhm.
Negative 25.
Two brothers in a van in a meteor. All right.
And they do all their social medias. So they've had a lot of videos go viral.
Yeah.
Of just like it's just like memes, like where they'll walk up to him like, "Hey, what are you listening to?"
Uh-huh.
And he'll
Yeah.
just say something stupid, like
They're
don't
on
know.
the pulse when it comes to like Instagram and like because with every band having to be influencers these days.
Yeah.
And like I was just talking with my girlfriend about this, how it's like there's a lot of people that I think shy away from that, or they think, oh, just like it's all fucking dumb. You have to be an influencer now. It's like, or you can take the negative 25 approach and make it your bitch.
Yeah.
Honestly, like they have their fingers on the pulse when it comes to what's trending and but
Yeah.
without being disingenuous. They're not like
Right.
lip syncing and all that stuff. Like their content's hilarious. It's really
Yeah.
entertaining. So
They're just tapped into what works and what trends.
yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that's a constant back and forth in a lot of artists' heads of like, I know there's a lot of people that are very unwilling to sort of get with the times and go with it because they just
Yeah.
think it's stupid. And then there's sort of the idea of like, well, it kind of is what it is.
Yeah.
And you can either, we got a quote,
hey, at least one quote.
swim or
Sink or swim.
sink or swim. There's surf the wave or get pulled out by the tide, something like that. Something like that. Either
Yeah.
the tide is gonna knock you down, or you're gonna surf that wave.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And somebody said that in a way more eloquent and concise way, but the sentiment is there. So yeah, there's definitely an element of that, and I think that you just have to figure out how to find your authenticity within that
Yeah.
Exactly.
realm, and you have to figure out like You can't cynically do it. You can't be like, all right,
Yeah.
time to make a meme because that's what
Yeah.
society wants me to do. You know,
Right.
you got to like, all right, well, what would be fun for me? And then how do I go
Right.
from there?
Yeah.
Well,
There's
yeah.
a way to find a sincere, like, I mean, I'm saying what you said already. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like there's a way to kind of you gotta have to make it your own.
Yeah. But just, there's a bunch of noodles that you have to throw at the wall and eventually one
Yep.
will stick. And then
That's
more.
right.
Here we go.
Yeah.
We're gonna release a quote book from this podcast.
Quote book.
Wouldn't that be great?
That'd be totally great.
We'll sit there for 300 hours worth of footage and go through
Yeah.
go through everything.
We won't use ChatGPT at all.
No.
We're gonna pick out every
Come
quote,
on.
every quote we've ever said on this podcast, compile it into a book,
That'd be pretty good.
go.
figure out who said it.
little
We
love
never
it.
know who said it.
A little coffee book. Quote book.
We never know who said it, and we never say it correctly.
Oh, I
It's
love
like,
it. I love it.
there's that saying that,
Mhm.
that one. They said that thing.
But a lot of people, they worry about like sacrificing their brand, or like people
Yeah.
don't want to be seen as like someone that gave in to trends
Yeah,
too, like so they won't even try. But then the thought is like why wouldn't you want to try everything? Like, what if
to get your music in front of people.
to get your music in front of people?
Yeah.
Like, why
Yeah.
wouldn't you try a trend if it's gonna put you in front of the face of like a million people?
Yeah.
Even for a few seconds.
Mhm.
I haven't done it.
Yeah.
But like,
Yeah,
No, but you go, I think guys like Steven Wilson Jr. are a great example of that, who like you see his style and you're like, okay, maybe he's not like off the bat, you wouldn't think like I'm just assuming, I don't know the guy, but I'm assuming that he like probably you're never gonna see him do like a the trend where people are like, quick, suspect looks like they're so and so.
Yeah,
You would
yeah,
never
yeah,
see
yeah.
him doing that trend.
Right.
But yet he's still got a great team of guys behind him to like really market himself in an authentic way. That's still
Mhm.
like, also he has great freaking music, but like it's, you know what I'm saying? There's way, it's not just like you have to be a Britney Spears or whatever to
Sure.
fit in the social media space. It's a whole world. And like you just have to carve out your niche.
Yeah.
Like I know it's said a lot, but it really is true. Like there is room for pretty much anybody. Like
Yeah.
as far as I can tell.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and there's always a way to attach your brand and the way you do things to the trend.
yeah,
You don't have to blueprint, copy, and paste what the trend is.
exactly.
You can always find a way to make it work.
Mhm.
How do you do it?
How do I do it?
Yeah, because you'll do some of the trends from time to time, or like
Yeah, for me,
Yes.
my goal, it was a lot of noodles thrown at the wall.
Yeah.
And for me, especially when I got to Nashville, because I've been here for 5 years now. And I was making content before that, just
Right.
filming stuff in my living room, or not my living room, my bedroom. And, I had like 1,000 followers, something like that, maybe 2 or something like that. But, once I started filming my gigs, I was like, okay, my goal is I'd never want to feel like I'm making content.
mm-hmm.
And by that, I mean, I don't want to ever have to sit I just want to film what I do to pay the bills already, which is playing live. I play live. I do some studio stuff here and there, but mostly I play live,
Mm-hmm.
whether that's on Broadway or on the road. But I also want to do more live stuff. So I'm like, I'm going to film my live gigs where I have like big crowds or whatever. I'm going to film stuff where I get to do cool stuff. Like I didn't get any videos with -25, but I wish I did.
Sure.
But yeah. So it's like for me, it was just like, okay, well, I'm just gonna film myself doing a bunch of live stuff and post it consistently enough where that'll build a following. And then when the How to Get Fired stuff came along, that was just, like with me messing with my band in the sample pad, that was something I'd already been doing for
Right.
at least like a year and a half or something like that. Cause I've been playing with that band and we had that SPD. It's not my SPD, it's Will's.
Is it really?
Because he brought it for that gig specifically so we can run tracks on like Linkin Park songs and stuff like that. Because as soon as you hear, like if we play In the End, if you hear that piano riff in the audience, they're like, oh wow, like you sound like the record and stuff. And of course, Will, his freaking talented ass, can hit all the Chester Bennington notes.
Yeah, dude.
But so we just had that sample pad and like it had a couple silly sounds on it, but I eventually started loading more and more dumb shit on it because we play Sundays and Mondays and we play till 2 a.m. whether there's anyone in the bar or not. And that can get tiring after a while. So we're just finding ways to entertain ourselves. And usually it's by being really, really stupid. Sure. and I just happened to film it one night. And the first video I uploaded, well, technically the second time I filmed it, which was when part 9 was filmed. And that was the first video from that gig that I uploaded, and that just went viral. Yep. So now I understand, like, okay, most of my followers are there for the how to get fired stuff.
True.
But I've been trying my best to like show like, well, yeah, it's like, I mean, yeah, this is part of what I do, but I also am a live guy, and this is like some other cool stuff. And I've found ways to like caption it in ways that maybe at one point felt disingenuous, but it's just like, you know, it's you want to draw the eye in, you want to like be able to explain everything that's going on in the video within 1 to 2 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I treat the captions, I'll put something funny in the captions every now and then, like not the caption on screen, like the captions below, like I'll put something, but I usually treat the videos as if no one's going to read those.
Interesting.
Which is maybe cynical in a way, but it's just like, I think it helps you come up with creative ways to get all the information out into the viewer's head without them even having to think.
What's going on, drummers? If you're looking to learn how to record drums from home or how to run backing tracks during a live show, because you know it's going to give you more opportunity in the music scene, we made Groove MPL just for you. So Groove MPL is a website where you can find a library of classes that are taught by the best of the best. So we've had Tim Buell, we've had Kip Allen, who you can hear on songs by Keith Urban, we've had Daniel Sauls, who plays for Lauren Daigle, and all sorts of other fantastic musicians. So my name is Taylor Friest, and when I moved here to Nashville, I saw the people that were becoming successful as drummers here, and they were the ones that really understood these other topics aside from just how to play drums, which is great, but as you try to grow in the scene, you realize you have to learn so much more to get these other opportunities. So if you're looking to dive into these topics and get some more opportunities in the drumming scene, you can sign up at groovempl.com with the code GGP, all capital, for Garden Groove Podcast, and get 50% off your first month. I look forward to meeting you all.
What about hashtags? What is? I've always wondered that because, like,
dude, I still don't understand it myself.
Okay,
I don't get it either.
You see videos that go viral with like no hashtags on them, or just a very few, and then you see like, you know, just kind of like the guy that doesn't have a lot going, you know, but every post has 47 hashtags, and it's like hashtag local musician, hashtag Jack White, hashtag, you know, Led Zeppelin, like just anything they can think of. And you're like, well, that's not doing anything really. Yeah. But so I guess my question is like, have you, at your level, do you see anything tangible, or like what do you think is going on there?
All I can say from what I've been doing for the last 2 years has been, and maybe a little before that, is I wrote out what I thought like the basic hashtags were that I would be in pretty much every single one of my videos. Yeah. And I think I haven't checked the Instagram used to have like a limit on like, it can only be like 30 hashtags per post or something like that. Yeah. I don't know if it's still the case, but for a while I wrote 25 hashtags that I figured would sum up the drum world. So it was like hashtag drummer, hashtag drum solo, hashtag, or not drum solo, but hashtag drum set, hashtag drum porn,
live
all that
drums,
shit. Yeah. Live drums, yeah. So I put that in my text replacement. So whenever I post a video, and I don't want the hashtags to be in the way of anything. So sure. I'll
dot, and
then put the hashtags, and tag whatever companies or whatever. But like, I'll usually do, so it's like about 25 text replacement hashtags that just pop up as soon as I type in a certain phrase.
Okay.
So I don't have to type each of them out.
You can do that.
So
I'm going to go home and do it right. Like tonight, I'm going to set that up.
I just type those out, and then like I leave 5 hashtags open for whatever this particular video may lie in. I don't know if this will work for anybody else, but this is what I've been doing, and it seems to have worked. Gotcha. I don't know if it's helped in my videos getting more views or not, but like,
so you leave like 5 slots for hyper specific.
Yeah. So whether it's like, if it's a how to get fired thing, it'll be like hashtag, and I feel like a a dork doing this, but like we're like hashtag comedy, hashtag prank, hashtag fail, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like I said, I don't know if it
hashtag
helps.
must watch.
Yeah,
Hashtag gone sexual.
Yeah, and I try not to do any hashtag. Like if I try to find like a hashtag, I don't know if this is like I said, I don't know anything. I just thrown a lot of noodles at a lot of walls.
Sure,
but like I pick hashtags, and this goes for Instagram and TikTok. I pick hashtags that have at least 1 million. Because you could see like, 1 million posts have used this hashtag, or like 1,000 posts have used this hashtag.
Yeah,
I never use anything less than 1 million.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if that helps.
Yeah,
but I seem to have better luck with it.
I guess it depends on how niche of a market you're going for. Like, because I use hashtag shoegaze all the time. Like, there's not 1 million of those necessarily, but there's maybe like 700,000. You know, so like,
I don't know what the Instagram shoegaze scene is like.
I don't know either. That's just an example of like something kind of niche. Like there maybe there's like a different rule of thumb for like what the size of the funnel you're going for might be. But yeah, if something has less than 1,000 that have used it, it's like, well, nobody's like looking up things using that hashtag.
Exactly. But it's I mean, I saw something that was like, like Instagram, because I know they change their stuff constantly. It was like they are now favoring videos that have less hashtags. But in my head, every time I've tried to like, whenever they say, these are now the new best times to post for this year. Yeah. Every time I've tried to change that, it hasn't worked out for me. So like I'm just kind of like, I'm just going to keep doing what I do. And if that works, I'm also, I mean, to be fair, I'm in a fortunate position where like
all your stuff's gonna do decent.
It's not to get cocky, but it's like I'm
just math.
That's how it is. Yeah,
it's just math. At the end of the day, math isn't cocky.
Yeah, it's like I'm at 460,000. I'm at 460,000 followers now, and it's like for me, if I was like really still trying to build, like I need more.
Yeah,
then I'd be a little more worried about it. But right now, I'm still just trying to post videos that I think are cool.
Yeah,
and like not worry too much about like, okay, how much, I mean, I care a little bit about the engagement. I mean, I have to, but it's like, this was more my mindset when I was first building the following. That's all I'm saying.
What was the snowball moment for you? You said it was like 2020, you had like 1,000, 2,000 followers maybe?
Yeah. So like, I mean, for me, the real snowball was part 9 when I released that back in November, October of 2024 when I that's when you've seen like the most growth, like by far. For sure. Like from literally like 6,000 to 7,000 to over 100,000 overnight or within a week or something like that. And then from there,
so it hasn't been like a steady, like every year over year kind of growth. It's been more, I mean, you've clearly been growing at a slower pace, but then.
Yeah. And really I had a couple like bumps here and there where like, cause I was at like maybe like 1,000, 1,500 when I moved to Nashville. And when I started posting kind of like half consistently, like there were like a couple of videos every now and then would get good. And then like once I started, like I set myself a schedule like about a year and a half ago, like posting twice a week. And once I started that, there were a couple moments where like, this actually gave me a little boost or whatever. And like maybe got me another 1,000 or another 700 or whatever. And like, I think same thing but I still like, that got me to about like 6,000, and then that was that How to Get Fired Part 9 was what just launched into a whole different level. And then from there, because I had more videos to back it up, I still had like Part 9 through 16, 17, like in the back catalog.
Oh, you'd already filmed those.
I had already filmed those. I just had to edit them, but like I wasn't gonna post them all right away, so I'm just like posting a little bit at a time, and that's what brought it from like 100 to 200, and then 200 to 300, and now. Here we are at 460. So
I mean, that's pretty crazy growth in less than 6 months.
Dude,
5 months.
Yeah. I mean, it's weird to see like some of my favorite drummers and like people who are like actually really, really, really good at this instrument. Yeah. And I've like surpassed them on Instagram. And I'm not saying that means shit. Cause like obviously.
No, but it's weird to think about.
It's weird to think. I'm like, why are there like.
It's people that you might consider better than you or like more important than you or whatever you think internally about it. And then you see the numbers don't.
It's like that makes
no
sense
what?
At all.
I've got 5 times more followers than this guy.
Yeah,
and he's like my hero.
Yeah, I have 5 times more followers than Rich Redmond. That makes no sense at all. Like that shouldn't be how this goes.
It's not a fair world we live in.
No, exactly.
It's totally a weird thing though, because it's a new kind of thing too.
Yeah.
Remember, like when we were in college or something, and people would try to grow a following on Instagram. I remember my girlfriend in college would go on specific hashtags, and when we were having conversations, she would like, and then go to the next thing, and then like, and then go to the next thing, just like to like gain followers.
Oh yeah.
Solely
I
for
remember that whole strategy.
And then if someone got like 10K, it's like, oh my god,
yeah.
One of my
wow, what are you gonna do?
One of my friends one of my friends in high school, his sister she's a really good photographer, and she had a photography account that she's kind of posted all the stuff that she was doing on there. She got to, in 2013, she had 22K on Instagram. We're like, you're literally famous. You are, like, they sent her like a Instagram like care package with a bunch of different little like merch things in it, and like a personalized like logo with her username and stuff.
Wow.
It was really cool. But like to your point, like back then, even just like 5 figures, it was like nuts. Like how does, and now think about this. Imagine going back to the 1600s and trying to tell a pilgrim that you have 460,000 people that follow you online.
You know the population of the earth right now?
They'd be like, I don't know how you got so powerful, but can we follow you? Can we be part of your nation that you rule over? Like that concept is crazy to think about.
Yeah.
But it is like it's like a power. Like you have, it's a power.
It's a power. You must wield it wisely.
But it kind of is,
great
right?
Power comes great responsibility.
Because there's a lot of people that would, and there's a lot of people that pay to have bots. Jackson, you want to give me one too?
Yep. Is that another Guinness? Yep. Hell yeah. Let me finish my shit.
We're celebrating. But there's a lot of people, and me and Jackson know one when I say this, that pay to have followers.
Oh,
yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, we do.
And obviously they're not real followers, but like people really want that clout because they think that's going to lead to success. That's going to lead to, if you have this many people, then 1,000 true fans. That kind of thing. If you can have 1,000 true fans that are going to buy a T-shirt from you, it's really good money.
Right. You only need 1,000 real fans that are going to pay X amount of dollars every year, on buying merch or tickets to your show, and then you're making a living. But it's like the appearance of it. It's sort of the fake it so you make it thing where, I mean, at this point...
Oh, it's fine.
We're all doing live Guinness pours. If anybody from the UK sees this, don't comment on it.
We had on our New Year's show, which was a mess. No, Friendsgiving. Freaking Blake spilt wine on the carpet.
No.
Did he?
Oh yeah, dude. You can't see it though.
You got it out.
I got it out.
It's a colorful enough rug,
Yeah, that's true. Wayfair, baby.
You know what the bot thing makes me think of? Do y'all remember that? Sorry, I'm gonna forget the guy's name. He was a metal artist. A couple years back.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is for muffling or
Multi-purpose.
Metal artist.
He was a metal artist a couple years back that had botted all of his plays and had like 1 million monthly listeners on Spotify and leveraged that to get like Epitaph Records to sign him, and then got exposed. And I cannot remember the guy's name. It's going to drive me crazy now. But he was able to like do the botted, like fake it to make it thing. But then he got exposed. And I feel like labels and publications and venues like are so much more savvy now to that kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's like you can't really fake it.
And that's like the equivalent of like when you get like a guy who's competing in like a bodybuilding competition and he's roided up and he's competing against other guys who were natural.
Nice.
And it's like, look, it's like if you want to do roids, that's your business. That's no one's gonna tell you no. But there's got to be some sort of like accountability to like.
It's not gonna hold up.
It's not gonna hold up, and also it's like for people that are like. What good does that do the label if like they're just gonna sign some dude that has not real fans?
Yeah.
Right? But it has the clout, I guess. I don't know, like,
it's a
really
number
good point.
at that point. It's just you go to his account and you see a number that looks good.
Yeah.
It's like, well, what is that doing for anybody?
And the people that grow that 1,000 true fans thing are the people that know their audience the best,
Yeah.
right? So like, it's like build your tribe, and like a lot of people don't succeed in business because they don't pick a niche enough thing. They're like, oh, well, our product's for everybody. Everybody will like this product. And if it's for everybody, then it's for nobody. So if you can really figure out who your very exact audience is, then you can make a very pinpointed piece of content, purchasable thing, whatever it is, directed towards them. And then you can build that following. But I mean, for you, it's kind of got to be tricky because you got hundreds of thousands of people that got interested in what you do. And it's got to be hard to figure out exactly what they came for.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. What do they want from me? Is
What do
that the
they
question?
want? What do they want from me?
What do the masses want from me?
Well,
How do I keep these people happy?
apparently bonks is like the one thing that
Yeah,
keeps them
bonk.
happy, like as far as I can tell. But at the same time, I'm like I mean, I like I said, I don't dislike the bonk. I don't want to
I love
talk
the
shit on the bonk. Thank you.
I love bonk.
But
There's
I love
more
bonk.
to you than just a bonk.
Yeah, it's like, look, it was a funny bit, and it was a funny video, but at the end of the day, it's just like when I mean, I do not ever want to like complain about the
sure.
following that I've gotten, but every now and then you'll see a comment on like if I do like a video of like, oh, here's the thing with Trey Lewis, or here's a cool thing that I recorded on, and someone's like, where's the bonk? And I'm just like, I don't get bothered by it, but it to a point where it will ruin my day. But it's still just like, if it's just a troll just trying to get a reaction, I get it.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's like people that are genuinely like, whoa, you didn't do the funny sound, and it's just like, you've heard the funny sound already, my guy. Like,
Yeah.
you can go back to the top of my page where it's pinned and listen to it again. And like, even like for pranks against Skylines, like when I'm doing pranks on Skylines, it's like they're tired of the bonk. They don't need to hear the bonk again. They're definitely tired of the bonk. So it's like, I don't know. It's this weird thing where it's like I'm aware that my following is definitely a lot of not drummers, a lot of not musicians, and I'm cool with that. But like, at the end of the day, I definitely still. I mean, drumming is what I do. I'm not saying I want like, oh, I wish I had all drummers as followers or whatever. Cause it's like, I mean, that's a hard thing to do. And it's like, but, and I like making the content that I make, but it's like, I'm pretty aware that it's like, okay, like I know this post about Trey or this post of me just playing live is definitely never going to do nearly as well as a How to Get Fired video or a bonk
Sure.
video. I'm okay with that.
Well, and also like, it's not really, I don't want to say it in a negative sounding way. It's not a massive loss to your personal brand if you shed some of those followers over the years, some of
That's
the
what I was
non-drummer
thinking.
followers.
Yeah.
Because inside of that is a core audience of people that do what you do, that like your content, and that are also interested. So even if you right now you have this big boost, if over the next 5 years you shed a lot of those non-drummers, that's not even really affecting what your effect is on, where it counts.
And that is a point that I always have to be reminded of.
Yeah.
And my girlfriend tells me that all the time.
Because you're looking at that number.
Because I'm just always looking, I'm like, oh, but this isn't going to do, I'm like, I have to do a How to Get Fired video or a bonk video. She's like, yeah, but those people aren't
they're not paying your bills.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like, you don't need to, like, if that's not, like she says the exact same thing, that's not going to hurt your brand over time.
No.
And it's like, you know what? You're right. It's a hard thing to let go because in my head, I still have I like to think that I'm pretty aware and not chasing cloud or whatever, but there are moments where my lizard brain's like, ooh, $1 million.
Yeah.
Like,
you're hardwired to be like more,
exactly.
bigger number.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm just, that's just part of how we're wired. And that's
Yeah.
how social media is designed.
Yeah. Taps
But-
into it.
Yeah. It's definitely, I mean, I'm glad that I've had enough. I mean, it sucks to see it happen a lot, but I've had enough. I mean, obviously, this is, well, I probably shouldn't say that.
Pumpernickel.
Yeah, pumpernickel.
Pumpernickel moment.
Like,
We had a little
yeah,
pumpernickel moment.
But I'm very glad to have, I've seen so many peers get pigeonholed. And so I got to kind of be aware of that in the beginning and realize like, okay, like, yeah, the bonk's cool. And it's cool to have, have the attention right now, but that's not what's going to pay my bills in the long run.
Yeah.
It's like, that's not what I want to do.
Yeah, right.
So
Yeah, I think it all depends. Well, one, I really think it's cool that it happened to you because I think you've done a really good job of staying Ethan throughout the whole thing, and I love that. You can imagine someone that would get the clout, and then all of a sudden they're a little more bubbly in day-to-day life or whatever it is.
Kind of go straight to their head.
I like it.
Yeah. Little Hollywood when they walk in the door.
Yeah. Like you've been Ethan the whole time. I think that's really cool. Not a lot of people would do that, which says a lot.
I'm glad to hear you guys say that because I still sometimes wonder, I'm like, was I a dick to that person?
No,
I am
you've been
such a
Ethan.
people
Yeah,
pleaser
you
that I'm
probably
just
like second guess yourself after it because
all
you're
the
like,
time.
is my behavior being affected by this?
Yes.
Right.
I'm sure that's, especially if you're like a generally like nice, down to earth guy who wants to be not an asshole. You probably, the asshole radar is probably cranked up to 10, especially if you're a people pleaser and like you're always worried that you're being an asshole, even though you're like the nicest person ever all the time.
It's just amped up.
Yeah,
Just amped
that
up,
just
man.
has to be amped up to 10.
You have to be aware.
Yeah, because you're like, oh man, did I blow that guy off by accident? Yeah, whatever. I can imagine that would be interesting to
absolutely.
navigate.
I was, sorry, go ahead.
Well, they say like when people get rich, it just makes more of what they are.
It amplifies what was already there.
Yeah.
So like to me, it would like
Same with cocaine. That's what
Yeah.
That's what I hear.
That's what I hear. But I mean, it's got to depend on like what you want from it, right? Like it'd be really cool if you could pay the bills through social media. In which case, if you only had 1,000 people that followed you, but they each bought merch, that would pay your bills. That'd be really good money. That'd be $20,000 a month if they bought a shirt a month.
Yeah.
Right?
That's true.
You need to buy 12 shirts a year from me. Every one of you 1,000 people. I want 12 shirts
January.
a year.
February.
I want dedicated fans.
But
Yeah.
it just depends what you want. Like, is the goal, and we said it on the last podcast, like what you measure gets managed. So if you're measuring the amount of followers you get, you'll probably get more followers. If that's the goal, then measuring that is a different kind of deal.
That's true. Yeah. It's what did you just say?
What you measure gets managed.
What you measure gets managed.
Yeah. Doesn't rhyme.
No. It's funny. I just
MM.
heard.
Say what?
Sorry.
No, wait, no.
I was just saying there's an MM in there. It's a little like alliteration.
I appreciate that.
What you measure gets managed. It rolls. Sorry. Anyway.
No, you're good. I mean, that is both very true. Those are very true statements.
Accurate observations.
Yeah, I forget. Someone did just say that. It might have been, maybe I'm making that up, and you were the first person I just heard say that. But I know I've heard something of that nature before, and it was,
Yeah, we were talking about also kind of what you put your focus on tends to amplify. And if you focus on things that you are dissatisfied with, it may not mean that you're going to have more bad things happen to you, but you're going to be living more in that world. And then if you're focused on what you have going on or what you want to have going on, and you just keep your focus on that, it tends to amplify those things. And it kind of goes hand in hand with what is measured is managed.
Absolutely. And for me, I mean, right now, if there's one thing I'm really trying to capitalize on, for better to speak, it's Skylines and Satellites, the band that I was playing with in the Bonk videos, the How to Get Fired videos, because I'd been playing with each of them individually for years, and like that was like, this is like, we've been Skylines and Satellites, like this formation for, I guess, 2 years now. Maybe more like a year and a half. But because my following grew, and because they were the band in that video, and obviously Will being the singer with the funny reactions and stuff like that, all of their followings have gone up.
Cool.
Yeah,
and even we had a band Instagram that was, we didn't post anything on it. It was like old Tin Roof schedules and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it was like when they were a different formation too. It had like 600 followers for a while. It's at 20,000 now.
I saw that.
Yeah.
I went and looked, and I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah. So we're
20K
really trying to
is
capitalize on that. And
solid.
Yeah. And I mean, Will, I knew I wanted to be a part of his original stuff from the moment I met him, because I was like, I'm like, this kid's too cool for me. Like he's just, he's just so freaking talented. All of those guys are. And like, it's just, yeah, we've gotten so tight over the years, and I don't mean to sound cocky saying that. It's just like we
play
work
together enough.
We play together
you will
enough.
Get tight if you're trying.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah. So we just got out of the studio. We finished up last week, and
Nice.
we're getting our stuff mixed right now, and we're hoping to have a single released. I think by next month, hopefully.
Cool.
So-
Where were y'all
dude.
recording?
Yeah, where do we record? Trace Horse Studios.
Oh, nice, yeah.
Berry Hill.
Yep.
Yeah.
Over in Berry Hill.
Yeah, dude, Preston was awesome. He's a great engineer. Did you work with him or?
No, I just know Trace Horse.
Gotcha.
I interned at Station West over off of West Iris, and then which is right over there, like down the street from Trace Horse. And then I went to Blackbird for audio engineering.
Hell
school.
yeah.
So just familiar with the area.
Of
and
course. I didn't realize how many studios were in Berry Hill.
It's 40 plus.
No
Insane.
way.
Yeah.
Really?
What
Yeah, it's over 40.
That's
Every
insane.
house that you see in those neighborhoods is pretty much a studio.
They're all businesses at least.
They are at least businesses,
and then
most of them
are
are studios. Yeah.
I didn't even realize, like, because Preston was saying, like, Trace Horse is like both his neighbors are studios,
Yeah.
and like I was like, what's the?
Jeez.
He's like, is there competition? That he's like, no, everyone's really chill. Everyone's.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's good.
People
to know.
want to be there. People
Yeah.
want to have a space in Berry Hill because it almost is like it comes with some sort of legitimacy or something like that.
Yeah.
You know, people are
Yeah.
trying. There's a house right now for sale in there on the not West Iris, but it's like the loop that comes around behind Blackbird. There's a house on that road for sale, and I think it's listed for like 1.8 million. It's a built-out studio
Have
too.
mercy.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Golly, dude.
There were houses by themselves. I remember back like during COVID, there were some houses in there that were completely gutted. Just the house selling for like 800,000.
Damn.
Just to get in there.
That's insane.
wild.
Yeah.
Taylor, you
It's
fucked
crazy.
up, man.
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Too bad I'm here.
Too bad.
Damn.
So if you want to get away from Berry Hill,
Come to
come
East.
to Garden. Yeah, come to East.
Yeah.
Come on down to
There's
Garden.
another
Garden
studio.
space.
Yeah.
Have
We
you ever
want-
heard?
what?
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say we won't dox your location, but it's just
Yeah.
Dude, it's already.
dox himself pretty much.
Yeah.
To get
I'm
people
running-
over here.
I'm running Google ads on my location right now
Yeah.
as we speak. For God's sake.
It's a business practice to dox himself. It's a business strategy, actually.
It's not funny. It's not a funny joke.
Pumpernickel.
Oh my gosh. Ethan,
Taylor.
how'd you get into drumming? What started it all?
The movie How to Get.
How to Get Rich? Yeah.
Be a drummer.
Yeah. How to Get Rich. Start
Being a
drumming.
Put the drumsticks down. Go get a real job, fucker.
Get a 9 to 5.
Accurate.
Get a 9 to 5.
Page 1.
The movie School of Rock.
No, really?
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
We were making straight A's.
Yeah, stuck in the dumb days.
I can hear those fills in my head right
Dude,
now.
I wanted to be. Freddie was like. I didn't say I wanted to be him, but like I definitely, I'm like, he seemed like the rebel, and I
He
just
was the coolest one.
he was the coolest
Oh,
one.
yeah, the spiked up hair.
Yeah.
Started
He had, like the
making-
sleeves cut off of his
Yeah.
his uniform.
I wanted to do that, and my parents were cool enough to get me drum lessons. I tried guitar lessons before, and it didn't really stick.
Sure.
So, and apparently, I don't remember this, but what my mom said was the guy who I took guitar lessons from, he had a drum set because he was primarily a drummer, but he also taught guitar. And
Okay.
he had 2 drum kits set up, and I was always just eyeing the drums apparently. And I think he let me sit at the kit once and tried to teach me something, but I was too young to know anything. But
Sure.
I remember that being the funnest day in
Sure.
guitar lessons. But yeah.
Do you remember like the very first time you played?
I remember after my first lesson, after I saw School of Rock, I was like 9 years old, and I remember after my first lesson because I had a pair of sticks, but I didn't have a kit. But I remember I think I had like a CD that my old guitar teacher had given me to practice along to for guitar, but I practiced along for drums because
Sure.
it's pretty just standard. Like I think there was some shuffly stuff in there, but it was mainly just pretty straight ahead. Like I remember it even had the fill.
Yeah.
In my head, I'm like, "Whoa, how do you do that?" but I remember like I was just keeping time on the sofa cushion or something like that,
Mhm.
and yeah, that was probably like that's probably the earliest memory of me actually playing and feeling like, wow, I'm doing it.
Yeah.
I didn't know if it sounded good, but I know I was like, I remember internalizing what I was hearing and playing along to it. So yeah, and then I think like a month later, I got a real like beater kit. It was like the brand was Sunlight, I think, if you've ever heard of that.
Sunlight
like
drums.
Sunlight drums, man.
Is that some Santa Barbara shit?
Possibly. I found the same.
Never heard
funny
of
enough,
Sunlight.
I went to a thrift store years later, like when I was like probably 17 or 18.
You found one?
And I found like the same kit. I was also high as pterodactyl tits.
Oh, fuck yeah, dude.
I was high as pterodactyl tits.
We're not 100% sure it was there.
It was the same kit. I was pretty sure.
It's the kit.
It was literally
It's
the same kit
man.
in a thrift store. And I'm like, that's literally the kit and it was funny because it was like,
That's
it was
crazy.
from a family. The kit I got was from a family friend who lived in this small town where the thrift store was.
Mhm.
And I'm pretty sure they just went to the local thrift store, or it may have been a tiny music store. I forget, but yeah, I'm pretty sure it was the same cherry red, Sunlight kit. Yeah.
That's crazy. It could have been some like subsidiary of a bigger company that lasted for 3 years in the 80s, and then they were like, nah, we're not gonna mess with drums.
Totally.
It could be just totally like
I had the floor tom from that. For some reason, I got rid of everything except the floor tom from that kit. And I remember I still have it in my basement in Nashville.
you ever break it out for sessions or anything?
I did. I recorded
Just on
with
a
it.
whim?
I recorded it with it for a while because it was like the one piece of the kit that still sounded great. It looked like it was
Yeah.
made of freaking cardboard, but it was like, it sounded good.
Yeah.
It was like, I tuned it like finger tight and it still, it worked. It sounded better than like, because eventually a couple of years later, I got a PDP.
Yeah.
And I always liked the sound of that floor tom from the Sunlight more than
Yeah.
the PDP. So
As a non-drummer, y'all can like chime in on this, but one of my favorite musicians, his name's Ty Siegel. He plays kind of everything, but he started as a drummer, and he said one time in an interview, he was like, I can get any kit to sound good as long as it has good heads on it and
That's
I have
right.
a good snare and cymbals.
That's right.
Absolutely.
He's like, if I you can hand me any kit as long as it has good heads and they're tuned well, and I have a good snare and cymbals with me, I can make anything sound good. And I've always kind of felt like that was true, but
Are you on that boat?
Oh, absolutely.
y'all believe
Okay.
that?
Absolutely. No. Are
Sure.
you?
I'm 100% on that boat.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just like, I mean, I think Adam Neely said it best because like Adam, he had like a video years ago where it's like, does gear matter? And I remember in the thumbnail, it said like, it does, but you shouldn't worry about it.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
like what I think most people who are that obsessed with gear, who
Yeah.
have no budget, or maybe they're like a kid and they don't, they have their allowance to spend on one thing
Sure.
per year. Like that's what you need to hear at that point.
For sure.
And because it really is, I know it's like they say, oh, it's the player, not the gear. And I think gear does matter to a certain extent, but especially in the drumming world, I mean, most instruments, if you're just trying to get good, I think there is value in practicing on equipment that is a little uncomfortable,
Sure.
because once you get the good stuff, it just makes it that much easier.
Yeah.
And I definitely had that approach even when I was younger. I was just like, you know what? I'm fine beating up my Sunlight kit with one shitty cymbal forever. I didn't know what, there was a difference between a ride and a crash until I got a PDP with some
the
B8
hi-hat and
Sabians.
the other one.
And the other one.
B8
Sabians. Dude, I still have that B8 ride. I whipped it out the other day.
Dude,
I
I
was-
have one of those
Yeah.
at home. It sounds like shit.
Dude,
It
in my head, I'm
hurts
like,
me.
this is what a ride cymbal is. I didn't realize,
Yeah.
I thought they were all supposed to be pingy like that. And
Yeah.
like, dude, like there is value to that. But like you said, I think especially for drums, you can take a shitty kit and make it sound decent if you just get some decent heads on it. Cymbals, I mean,
Yeah.
That's a different
yeah.
ball game.
If you're playing in
Cymbals
a
are kind of
punk-
hard to.
Yeah.
Yep.
If you're playing in a
Yeah.
punk band, you can maybe get away with some B8s.
Yeah.
Maybe. Because at
Ugh.
that point it's just loud anyways, and you just need something to hit that sounds not like a drum.
Yeah. I mean,
like
if I
some-
was like giving a drummer advice from an engineering perspective, I would say the first thing you should invest in is a good set of cymbals.
Yes.
Because that is going to be you
Exactly.
can't mix bad cymbals. You can't make bad cymbals sound good
Exactly.
with all the mixing equipment and or all the plugins
Yeah.
in the world because they take up such a small frequency range.
yeah.
There's only so much you can do to that before you're just taking the cymbal out of,
Yeah.
the, of the
Point.
recording. You
And
know?
you can
Absolutely.
replace the snare easier than you can replace
Oh,
the cymbals.
You can get in
100%.
there because
Yeah.
every other piece of the kit is represented across the frequency spectrum.
Yeah.
If there's something you don't like about that, you can go in there and notch that thing out as far down as you want to go and just get rid of that whole frequency section. But with a cymbal, you're really only looking at like 2K to and up, and then everything beyond about 6 or 7 is just like that really high end sizzle, and it's not really part of the character of the cymbal. So if you have like a really like a kind of that's my is my bane of my existence in mixing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, yeah.
That gongy sound.
Yeah, that gongy sound, like wind tunnel.
All brass.
Yeah, exactly. Just straight metal, like, and not in a good way.
Yeah.
And like that, there's not much you can do about it because you can notch that out, but all of a sudden your cymbal starts to just disappear.
Absolutely.
And it's like, oh, it's the cymbal that's the problem. So yeah, I would say like, if
Good
you're gonna
cymbals.
put money into anything, get cymbals that record well, or at least just play out well. You probably will need to record at some point. So maybe, it's worth the investment.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Good heads, good tuning.
Taylor, do you remember this is a random question. Do you remember your first cymbal that was not a B8? Or I don't know if you did the B8s.
B8s were first.
B8s were your first?
B8s were first, yeah.
Did
Do you
everybody
remember-
start on B8s?
Rest in peace.
But what was your first cymbal that was like out of that? Like your first big boy cymbal?
I think it was, so I asked my drum teacher at the time, it was Nate Barnes, like a local legend teacher. I think that's right. And I was like, what do I do? Like, what are cymbals? And
What
he's
are
like,
cymbals?
He's like, cymbals are the Sabian A. Is it AAX?
I think that was my first big boy cymbal as well.
Really? Because
Yeah.
they're the shiniest ones.
Yeah, I think
They're the most polished.
yeah, I thought
Okay.
it was the Zildjian A's that were the most polished, I guess.
Sure.
But I think the Sabians at the same thing. It's
Okay.
like, yeah.
Every drummer or every like gear centered thing goes. Let me go back to drums. So drums, like you go from like whatever you got, and like you're just gonna work with it, and then you go to like the fanciest, biggest thing,
Yeah.
and then you're like, I don't need the fanciest, biggest thing, and then you go back to like dry cymbals or just like, I bet like there's a good guy Axel Coe around here.
I don't think I know.
Do you know Axel?
No, I don't think so.
He's one of the best like session drummers
Okay, gotcha.
in town right now. He can make anything sound good. He can
Really?
make any drum sound good, any microphone sound good. I would bet that he started from like whatever he has, got like really nice gear, and then cut back. He's like, actually, I just need this and I just need this. So it's like a bell curve
Yeah.
kind of deal. And I always say for drummers, start with your first kit, and then you're like, oh, well, Neil Peart had
Yeah.
3 high toms and 3 floor toms. Maybe if I got more high toms, I'd sound better. Okay, so I'll get this. And then you get all of it.
Yeah.
And then you're like, well, okay, but then, Vinny Colaiuta, I guess, could make something sound good. Like Max Roach could make something sound really good with like just a ride and snare.
Yeah.
Like, okay, maybe I should learn how to make the most out of the least.
Or you pull up
Like-
to your first gig with that setup and you go, oh God, I gotta set all this shit
Yeah.
up and
Yeah.
tear it all down.
Or
and
you're
carry it to the-
gigging in New York and you have to fit everything in your kick drum on the
Yeah.
subway. You're like, actually, maybe I just
Okay, maybe it is cool to not have too much stuff.
These are all very apparent truths that I'm just now thinking back to my own life. I'm like, oh yeah, that's where my influences went. That makes more sense.
sure.
Like,
I just had my moment of reckoning with my pedal board. I
yeah.
I downsized the pedal board's still the same size, but I was able to move some stuff onto it that was sitting on the floor.
yeah.
And it's like, it is kind of freeing in a way. Where you're
Yeah,
like, oh, wait a
absolutely.
minute. I can do everything I need to do with this. And I don't need
Yeah.
every single flavor that I would use in the studio. I'm a good enough player that I can make this work. And then it's kind of a fun challenge to be like, how do I make it work?
Yeah.
And then I think that's, like you were saying, it's a bell curve. It's like a
Yeah.
roller coaster of like more. And then you're like, okay, this is too much.
Yeah.
Bare minimum,
Let's, like,
less to
bring it
carry, less to
down.
carry.
Less
Yeah,
to carry.
less to carry, less to carry.
Yeah. I sometimes have been I've kind of been back into like, minus the Skyline songs we just recorded because that was the first time in a while that I've had all the cymbals I could think of.
It's also
No,
the studio.
It's the studio.
is like-
Like,
Anything goes in the studio. You
Yeah,
can't
but like-
be held accountable for that.
Yeah. But with Trey, I'm already feeling like, it's so much stuff just having a second floor tom.
Yeah.
But that is part of the sound.
Sure.
That's how all of his guys have done it, like
Yeah.
for me. And like, there's parts in there where like I can play it with one tom, like if we're at a bus call or something, or a whiskey jam or something like that.
Yeah.
I can do it, but like it's just part of the setup. But even I'm like, man, sometimes I wish I could do like there's something so satisfying about seeing like you see like Wolfpack with like the freaking just
That's
floor tom
always what I
snare
think about.
kick,
Yeah.
2 cymbals or whatever, hi-hat in Madison Square Garden or something like that.
Yeah.
There's something I really, really want to have some group where I can just be so minimal and do that shit.
Watching
And-
a drummer like tear it up with kick snare hat
Is
Dude.
and never feel like, because I'm not even a drummer, but I play drums, for fun and to sort of get ideas out. And my thought always goes to like, well, I need at least 2 toms because I want to have interesting fills.
Yeah.
And you need to have all these different timbres of things. And then you watch like a jazz drummer with a ride, a hi-hat, a kick, and a snare. And you get lost in it and you go, wait a minute. I never once sat there and went, there weren't enough interesting fills.
Yeah,
You
Nice.
never see it. Well,
Nice.
Yeah.
he didn't do a big roll across the toms and therefore this sucks. Like you'd never think that.
Yeah.
It's very true.
It's very true.
There's legend of, I think it's Max Roach. He showed up to a gig with just a ride. just to like
Just a ride.
probably some cocky nonsense, but like
It's a little bit pretentious.
legend
but-
tells. Like if you're able to make a gig work with just that, I mean, shoot.
Scott Pellegrom it's not the same thing doing a TED Talk, but he did a TED Talk and a drum solo with just a ride cymbal.
Sure.
I think he might have had a snare too, but like,
Mm-hmm.
is that how you say his last name? Pellegrom?
I have no idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
It
right.
was also when he was doing like dream cymbals too. I think he's a Paiste guy now, but like he was doing, he had like just one dream cymbal that was very thin but big, so he could like do all the like the pitch bending and stuff by bending it over and stuff.
right.
That guy's already such a kook, so it's like,
Sure.
and I mean that in the most loving way. I don't mean
Yeah.
that it's like a.
He's
Is it
one of
this?
those. He's like the Wilco drummer too.
Oh yeah. Oh, is it?
What's his name?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know. I won't think of it. Yeah, but really creative
Yeah.
with what they're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I forgot what our point was with that. But yeah, just
I did too.
minimalist. I'm definitely back in a phase where like, I mean, for me, it's like because I same thing. I went through those.
It's over
phases.
time. Yeah. You change
Yep.
in what.
For me,
you
I like
value.
just switching it up. I mean, there are Broadway gigs where like I'll be playing because I do with Skylines, but then I also do on Tuesdays. It's a similar band, but it's like less pop and emo or like pop punk and emo, but more like '90s B-sides.
Oh,
Like,
cool.
Yeah, so
That's
we'll do like
fun.
Toadies and Fast Car and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then sometimes for that gig, I will go floor tom, snare, cymbal. I'll have a double kick usually still because there's double kick parts. Or
Yeah.
it's just fun. I'm trying to get better at my double kick anyways, but
You're very
That's-
good at double kick.
I'm okay.
I
am okay.
have evidence. But carry on.
I have been trying to get better for years, and I am still nowhere near where I want to be. I almost had not a meltdown in the studio, but I had a moment where Will was wanting me to retrack something, and I just could not do it. I ended up, I'm like, just splice it, please.
Sure.
Just please splice it. Like I've already played it. There are 2 takes where I did each part clean enough. Just put them together. and
Yeah.
we're good. I'm
Yeah.
keeping it at that. But yeah, no, it's I'm definitely more in a setting now where like, okay, look, I'll play whatever the music provides, and if it's a situation where I can get away, I think I will lean more like, look, if I can get away with this gig with just minimal drums, then I'll do that.
Yeah.
But sometimes I feel like having a rack, or sometimes I feel like having 2 up top or whatever.
But it's nice to have options too.
Yeah, I like
Yeah.
being able to not be limited by one.
Yeah.
For a while, it was such extremes of like, I'm gonna be like Blake Richardson and have all my cymbals. Now I'm gonna be like Zach Hill and go
Yeah, right.
kick snare hat. It's
Yeah.
like, yeah. So yeah, like you said, have options, be adaptable, and have that bell curve and enjoy
Just
it.
find your sweet
Enjoy it.
spot. Yeah, just have fun. That's the
fun,
thing
yeah.
too. Is like, it's almost like it's like the Miley Cyrus song. It's the climb. You know. I'm sorry, but
No,
it is
no.
the climb. And,
I
like,
respect the reference.
we're
I
all-
respect
Thank you.
unironically going into that.
It's the only way I could set that. What I was about to say, because we all want to. Everybody, drummer, guitar player, bass player, maybe even singers that just sing. have in their mind.
That's
Singers that only sing. I'm sure they got an idea. Everyone's got their perfect rig in mind. Like if I had enough, unlimited money and all this, everyone has this perfect rig, and you're always kind of chasing it, and it always changes, and you're always thinking like, oh, I got it now. Like I have it figured out. I have it down. But
finally.
Finally. It's only taken me 20 years, but I did it. And then next week it changes. And that's kind of the fun of it. It's like,
absolutely.
Just have fun with it. Figure out what you like, what you don't.
It's supposed to be fun.
It's supposed to be fun.
It's devastating to see someone that's doing music, and we go through phases too, and everybody has their own thing. But it's devastating to see someone do something that's supposed to be so fun and be so not having fun with it.
Amen.
It's supposed to be fun. We're not doing accounting.
That's becoming our podcast motto that we keep reiterating.
I love it.
In every conversation. We always come back to that. Like, it's supposed to be fun.
It's always supposed to be fun.
Absolutely.
Like,
first and foremost.
You as a kid was like, man, I can't wait to not have fun playing music. Get a job playing music or whatever.
I can't wait to only think about what bill this next gig is going to pay for.
That's not right.
We got to come back to the fun part of it. No matter
one of my guys who was a Catalyst, was a guy my mom used to date. Because my parents split up when I was like 15 or something like that, and like I was living with both of them back and forth until I moved to Nashville. And I remember my mom's boyfriend at the time was the one who, he's part of the one who got me to move. But I remember he always had the advice. It's like, if you can only pay one bill for the month, if you can only afford to pay one bill, it's like always make it your phone bill because that's what's going to get you work and stuff.
That's
nice.
I'm like,
that's really good.
Luckily, I haven't run into that deep of an issue yet. I mean, knock on wood. Like, where's the good wood here?
Good wood. There's wood everywhere.
No offense, sonar. Something about going on a lacquer just doesn't feel the same as
you got to get direct contact for it to work, for it to engage.
But I remember that stuck with me. I'm like, I mean, worst comes to worst, I will definitely remember that because pay your phone bill. That's what's gonna get you work. So,
exactly.
Dude, I went to the Nate Smith clinic. This week.
How was that?
Freaking amazing. I mean, it's Nate Smith, so like,
it was like, terrible. It was so bad.
Yeah, it was miserable to sit through. But I mean, he's one of those where like he would just play like a standard rock beat and be like, there's something about it that's just like pure mastery. Like, how many hours has he just played the like 10,000 hours on just that beat, maybe? Because whatever, he's fantastic. I forgot my point. Oh no, what were we talking about before?
Minimalism.
Oh no, he was talking about like financial struggles.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And he was like, there was a point when he was in like New York. This is not right, but something like it. There was a point when he was in New York, and he had to get a job as a substitute teacher, and like he had to take jobs on the side, and it's so strange to think about. Like when you think of Nate Smith, you think of success the whole time. It's been Nate Smith. He's always been fantastic. He's never not been that. To think of him, a master at his craft that had to take a side job. It's like, really?
Yeah.
There's like a chink in his armor. Yeah. Really?
Our brains can't comprehend it.
Yeah. You're not like a multi-millionaire every snare drum you hit. No way. But you played with all these people. And it's like, he was like, there's been numerous times I think he's like 50, late 40s, something like that. There's been numerous times where he's been at the bottom of the pits, in my words, financially. Because like it's hard to pay the bills doing this kind of thing. But he's like, there's no other job I would rather do. This is something I would do for free.
Yeah.
I would rather drive 7 hours up to wherever to play a gig. Like, because this is what I love to do.
Yeah.
Like, doing something other than this makes no sense.
Absolutely.
So he's like, the financial thing, like, was just like a side effect of that. Sure. But I get to do what I love to do.
Yeah.
So it's like,
obviously he's made it work this long.
He's made it work
great.
Mean,
I don't want to, like you said, I don't want to assume like, oh, I'm sure you'll be fine now. Maybe that was just back then. It's like we all could get fired for no good reason. I don't know who in their right mind would fire Nate Smith, but like,
I can name some people right now that got fired for no reason this year.
Yeah,
you know,
same, dude. It's just like, I mean,
it happens.
Job security is a very rare thing in the music world. I mean, in any job for sure. I mean, but like, and that's kind of how I saw it. I saw, what is it, Jack Antonoff, the guy who was the Bleachers and all, Band Fun and all that stuff. He was on Seth Meyers' show, and he was saying how like, well, yeah, life's hard no matter what, but like you're always going to struggle, even if you have a perfect job. It's like life's always going to be hard. So why wouldn't you want to just do this all the time? And obviously, different strokes for different folks. I mean, I have plenty of friends who have gotten tired of Broadway, and they're like, all right, it's fine. I don't mind doing Uber Eats for a bit just so I can enjoy music again. And it's a nice spectrum here. You can kind of carve out what you want here. It's like, I mean, I know guys who hate doing music for a living, or just doing any sort of, I mean, you know, my girlfriend does, like, she was commissioned for like doing like paintings and stuff on people's coolers and shoes and stuff like that. She's a great artist, but she does not like doing it for money anymore because she's like, it's not fun when I do it for money. Yeah. And it's like, and then there's, you know, people like Nate Smith who are just like, I don't care if I'm homeless. Like, I am going to play drums as much as I possibly can. And if I can pay the bills doing that, even if it's barely, then I'm going to do that. And like, you have those options. You know, it's different strokes for different fucks.
That's what they say.
As they say.
That's
We're
what
all
they
a
say.
bunch of fucks.
We're all a bunch of fucks.
Well,
Nate Smith, you're not a fuck. Don't worry. That I know.
Just us.
To be clear.
Yeah. Pumpernickel. No, all right.
Do y'all want to do a little jamming?
Yeah.
Let's do a little jamming. Maybe
Do we
before
want him to.
Yeah, let's do a little. Is there anything you want to shout out to this world? You got a sweet subscription thing on Instagram, which I've already said. But if there's anything you want to shout out to the world, any new music coming out, any shows coming up, anything?
Yeah, no. Skylines and Satellites releasing our first single. Can't say anything specific right now, but we'll definitely be releasing music in April. So please keep an eye out for that. Should be really cool. And keep an eye out for Trey Lewis dates. We're going to be playing, I think, a couple shows before May, but May we're really hitting it hard. So
sweet.
We'll be out like Pacific Northwest, stuff like that. Check Trey Lewis, his website for tour dates and all that. I got not much else. Other than thank you. I'll shout you guys out. Thank you guys for
thank you.
having me, for, you know, hosting me at the Garden Groove again, because I don't get to come here nearly as much as I'd like to. Sorry. So, dude, thank you guys for having me. And congratulations on building a fucking phenomenal drum course and creative space for weird fucks like me.
You're too kind, dude.
Thanks,